what Rick just pulled out, them clinkers. And that's the dregs, all the stuff that comes off the metal, and also the ash that's in that coal. That's where the coal made coal and didn't burn up the first time it got zapped. Back when it was wood. That's my theory. Geologists can tell me all they want that all piled up and rotted and done that, but I don't believe it. I think it got hit by a great big nuclear explosion. Probably a meteorite. Maybe the other ones did. Who they blame the pyramids on. Well, they did. It's imported labor. You want me to handle this time?
You ever read Josephus?
You know, I've got that at the house and I've not.
I started. I keep saying I'm going to read it. I've got a volume that's this thick.
Yeah, that's what.
I mean, really fine.
Yeah.
And I'd put it off outside this morning. I'm going to read it. So I got about 3/4 of the way through reading Josephus. Complete works of Josephus. And it's pretty interesting, some insights.
He recorded the taking of the saga too.
He's talking in there now about getting hit from games.
Oh yeah.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
Gladiators. At one time, they slew 700 prisoners for entertainment.
What about sick people?
You going to hammer this time, you said?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be good to you.
You might be able to straighten out.
No, you didn't hurt nothing. Get my hammer in hand clear. This is actually, I don't think it's drafting through it, but that's hollow. There's a core in this, but it's still it's conducting enough heat up there. Ready. Right there. From here on out, I'm gonna stay square, Rick.
Okay.
I think.
That's the only way we'll keep it through all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Or at least that'd be the only way I could do it. You might have a better eye than me.
I think I could see as I was getting farther out, you confirmed what I was worried about. And it was a real worry, and I wasn't sure if it was me or the process. And it's a process. What we'll do from here on out, we'll stay square till we get done.
Yeah.
And then we'll go back and take the corners down. Okay, now let me get straightened up. Use the hands for a straight edge. It's going to get a little harder because we're starting to get up close to the middle. Hit it no more. It's starting to, don't want to break it.
Somebody said they predicted we'd have cross-pointed.
I'm going to use a real shovel.
I was looking for that little chicken scoop that was in here. We got a real one now. Coming up in the world.
I had to put a handle in this one. That was out in the corner crib. The handle was rotted off of it. And I took a sledgehammer handle and put a new handle on it. And this coal ain't soul coal, it goes fast. I put a whole bag here this morning.
May never see that seal coal again.
Huh?
May never see that seal coal again. Spring.
I don't know. It's still in demand. But yeah, it's going to be maybe.
Yeah, my son-in-law is in the coal business. That was their biggest sales now was that coal.
Yeah.
The only thing they were making money on now is steam coal market was out. And it's going to be next coal.
Like on hills. Put them baby dolls down.
Everything was kind of get warmed up a little bit, I think.
It's hard to get a little tedious. It's like picking up a hot poker.
Take you long to get that in.
Take me long to call, Bubba. I think I need to scratch the tubey on it. Iron. If you want, yeah. Might not be a bad idea.
Look out for the spark.
Okay. Attaboy. Blow the clinkers out of the bottom. Yeah. Not as much strain back on this. I made pattern welded steel out here several years ago for a bunch of metallurgical engineers from Inconel over at Huntington Metals. Far about twice as hot as this. I got done, was finished up that night. Everyone said, "You got something stuck on your elbow," and I had a blister as big as a hen egg where my elbow was passing that side. That's another reason for them bricks right there now. Okay. Almost drug that brimstone out with me, didn't I?
Be breathing least on the fire for that time. Yeah, that looks much better from this.
That's a better way of doing things, isn't
I
it?
think that's what we have to do.
Now most people, and in theory, everything that's happening underneath that hammer on top is the same thing happening on the bottom, but I don't believe that. I don't think it is. You got more happening on the top than you do the bottom. But it does reflect itself, but not like you would think. I'm seeing a little bit of a fault there. I'm gonna borax that, Rick.
Do we need to bring that up to heat and weld?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up.
Do we have any more borax anywhere our kettle's getting low?
Yes, sir. It's over there in the closet.
Big closet?
No, in the little medicine cabinet. So what I've got, see that little crack? That's on the skin, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put 20 mule team on that. And then when I come back, I'll finish square, and hopefully that little guy will weld up. It's not plumb into the core, but it's deep enough to cause us a heartache here after a while. Your anvil, you use it for a square. It's a square and a straight edge and a level, and a rounder. You make your bends on the end of it. place I see it's got a little fall in it. I think that'll come right out. What we use is 20 mule team borax, and old timers would have used mud dauber's nest because of the silica in it, glass, but we don't use glass because it carries a stigma and a disease with it called silicosis. So we don't use the ground glass anymore. Look at that little handle on that.
That's,
Yeah,
precariously.
it's sitting there waiting to fall on you.
I figured it out.
Okay. Okay, buckwheat. That's your back part. Now, for that, I'm going to go back to that blade. When I get ready to hammer it this time, Josh, at first when you're shooting, you want to stay up just about where you're at. Don't get down this way because it may splash.
I need to figure out, this will be pretty close to the dimensions of that bellows that I'm going to have.
Yeah.
I need to figure out what the full extended height is there.
Well, we
Make
can.
sure I've got enough ceiling space. Of course, I'm short, so I don't need as much as most people.
You're only measure from the center board and get what it's going to open to the top. The center board ain't going to move, and your snoot ain't going to move when you pull it. Rick's got a set of bellows we got over in Kentucky that are almost as big as these. They're old. All the nails are hand forged in it, and see how wide them is. Could you imagine them being made with two boards? They're two boards, but the boards they're big, they're thick boards.
This one's about as rolled and riveted together. Did you notice that?
Yeah,
That one is cast, I believe, if I remember right.
yeah. The snoot on yours is cast. It's funny. There's some parts of this one looks more professional instead of like a blacksmith one. There's some parts of yours though that looks, and that's part of that cast part. They would have had to have ordered or had it special made. It wasn't, the cast stuff's all made to foundry, where the forged stuff, the riveted stuff and everything is generally the blacksmith shop. I'm getting close. I better. When Josh got splashing, I better put that glove on. You hit that with a hammer, that hot flux goes between your fingers. It's hard to keep that hammer in your hand for the next lick.
And your shoe.
It's down your shoe. I get a little more tape.
Needs to be almost sparkling.
Yeah.
Take some fall.
Well, I'm below that fresh coal, so I should be okay. What I try to do is stay out of that fresh coal and the smoky stuff and work into the dope and charcoal in the bottom of it. If that soot gets in your weld, it won't let that weld close.
The other one's called medieval ones.
Yeah,
I'm
that
out,
looks cool.
I'm out of regalia. I'm in sandals now.
I said if you call medieval ones.
Oh, okay. It's okay. And then boo-boos are happy.
Sunburn? Sunburn?
Y'all get sunburned. Wore my shirt's wet too. It's boiling some sensitive
You
spots.
guys got a hot fire there, that's for sure.
There you go. You got
This wasn't quite so bad when they did this in the winter time. Whoa, Zach.
This is where you really need a different setup in this shop. Because
Right.
people love to see this, but I can't do this with the kids around for obvious reasons. Or ladies with flip-flops on. But boy, they can sure dance for you when you do that. They're standing there. They get pretty fast. Oh, it is. My hammer hand's getting warm now. The gloves start to heat up.
It's looking really good, Charles.
That is, isn't it? Pretty good for a couple old cricker boys.
Pretty good.
Okay, now, let's see if we got that bad spot.
We have to brag on ourselves. We can't think anybody else do.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing.
We welded boiler tubes one day for a contractor at a powerhouse. And one of them days when everything went right, we done like 60-some tubes, and that was unheard of to get them welded. Oh, he was thrilled to death. Well, about a day later, that sealed it. That crack ain't there no more.
That fix it?
Yep. Okay, Rick, we're gonna have to.
That's the thing. Walls on the outside are easy to leave up.
Oh yeah. I'm not. Give her a brush and we'll look again. I'm gonna let you take a look.
Yes, you can see it.
It ain't there, I don't think.
I don't see it.
Now, if you notice that barrel's bigger on the ends, Josh, the reason they do that, they're what they call a swap. And especially on the breech end, where the charge goes off, you want it a little bit heavier so that if it does blow up, it'll blow up out here. If it doesn't work right. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do, Rick.
Quench a little bit of that or
This end I'm gonna cool.
Yeah.
Let me find the right tool. I don't want to drop it. Look at that one right there.
we had one in your hand. There you go.
I just need to cool my hand.
I don't know why I put my feet back.
I don't blame you. It could puke on you.
She's shamed than she is.
Yeah.
I am. Until after 3 o'clock, I am.
Okay. White thing catching up with me. I can tell.
You all right?
Yeah, buddy.
Okay. We're out.
Now, we changed guys. This is Zach. Zach.
Sorry, Pat. What I call you?
Josh.
Okay.
We had a Josh, remember?
Yes.
Oh, we love that too.
He said just don't call him late for supper.
Just don't.
That's right.
He'll probably answered anything. Reasonable.
They actually gonna get me and you sweating. Sweating to the oldies. If we ever do a rig or antique car show instead of the Model T car show here at the farm, we need to get Dr. Victor down here. No, he does all the 1950s and 60s rock and roll.
Get him to bring his group.
He does the Beach Boys stuff.
May have him doing gospel by then.
I hope so. I hope so.
That'll work too.
That's my goal. I mean, my prayer right now.
That'll work too.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. Especially the one I got.
Like a heartbeat.
It sounds like a jet airplane landing. Drake didn't know that was on there for years. I've got a hand crank blower. Well, then on the side, I've got an adapter made on that hand crank. The electric blower blows into it. And Drake was asking me how to do something one day, and I walked over and I reached up and I pulled that lever on that electric. Then he reached for it. I said, "No, you can't use that." I made him not use it for a day or two, and he was almost done the project, and he was asking me again. I said, "Go ahead and use it." He burnt a piece up.
Yeah, I have a bad habit of not remembering to turn it off when it comes out of the fire.
Oh yeah.
And then you burn all your coal up.
That was why I made it to where you manually had to work there, but the trouble is it's either locked on or locked off. But it's easy to knock it out.
If I had an electric blower, I would have to put a foot switch on
Put it on.
so that I'd have
Put
to
rheostat.
stay on it, make it run. So that
Now this one is probably the last one, Zach, before we go to the other end.
Can you still hold that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm still hosing
You
them
need to
down.
get on the other end of it.
You ain't got your flip flops on over, do you?
No, sir.
Now that's about the right heat to work that wrought iron at.
That worked out perfect.
It's got to be hot. Much hotter than steel. The good thing is it doesn't burn as easily as steel, so you got to follow the wind with. Steel, you can have it work about all day and think you're almost done.
Blow it
About
up.
about the time you get tired,
It's on fire.
next thing you know, you turn up your work.
Or you'll grow a clinker in there and the whole element of the thing changes. What happens when you get a clinker in the fire, it'll still let out that hot radiation, but it doesn't use oxygen. And you mix oxygen with this steel, and it sets it on fire.
Just like a kitchen torch.
High carbon steel goes even faster than this stuff, because the carbon in it lights it off.
Oh, there. Look at there. Here's what we always have to keep hunting for in that fire back. You see that? That's a big old clinker.
That's what I was talking about. It don't use fuel, but it'll make heat. It radiates.
It's growling at me in there.
They make a lot of noise when you throw them in the fire. Now getting this straight will get more and more critical when I come back and start drawing it to that octagon right there. It gets even more critical. The next thing we got to do is build a boring machine. All right. I think we're
You
there,
want to take a
buddy.
little break? Let me pick fire a little bit.
Yeah, we'll let this bad boy cool down on this end.
I'm finding some jewels in here.
You're gonna probably find a bunch of them. We'll go ahead and give that a little bit of warm brushing. What I continue to look for is if there's a crack or a fault in the metal. That's something you continually do. When I started making knife blades, it seemed like little things that didn't matter much was a big deal, especially when you get tired. And I think that pretty much applies to life. But you see how nice and clean.
As I learned from Charlie, there's a lot of life lessons in the blacksmith shop.
A whole bunch of them. Okay.
That's like those clinkers. You can still smith and get by with those in your fire. It's like bad habits in your life. You can still get by, but they sure do rob your productivity.
They'll wreck you. Now, if you look at that, you can see it's tapered a little bit in the middle. And the ideal rifle barrel for us mountain men is one that's what's called swamped in the middle. They swamp out and they're bigger on the ends. And what's really cool, when you pick a rifle up, I'm not sure if they did it inadvertently or if they wanted a bigger chamber and a muzzle. But truthfully, when you pick that rifle up, and you pick a good rifle up, when you aim it, it's not like it's doing this, like they always show in the history books and they have a prop stick. It actually will sit out there and float. When it's ergonomic to your body, the way it works. But once that cools down enough, and I might cheat a little bit and cool that in a little water here once it gets cooler, then I'll go back. Now, if that was totally clean and that hot, you do not put it in that water, because what will happen, that steam will come up the barrel and scald you. It'll belch on you. And it's just like you had a plug in the end of it and done it. And it's superheat steam. It's not just hot water that's going to hit you. It's hydrogen and oxygen. That's what it is when it hits you. And it'll scald you real bad. I really dread getting scalded more in a shop like this than I do getting burned.
Take a little break, get a drink of water.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a drink of water. And
I got some.
I got, yeah.